In this part, we will go together new aspects or other functionalities within LangGraph and LangChain ecosystem. I'll be highlighting two aspects. The first one is a checkpointer with MemorySaver, and the second one is going to be human in the loop, where there is an interrupt and a command in order to continue the workflow. So the first thing to be done is I have this code that was done in the previous tutorial. I'll paste it as it is in the new untitled Python file before saving it. And now I will start importing. So from langgraph.checkpoint, langgraph.checkpoint, checkpointer dot memory, we will import the memory saver. Then from langgraph dot types, we will import command and interrupt. Once we imported those two functionalities, we will use them later when building the graph and invoking the graph. But for now, let's assume we had this activity, which is we will generate suggestions for business names. And after generating suggestions, we will filter out the taken ones. We want the user to come and select a business name. That's where we will be utilizing command and interrupt. And to do that, in order to be remembering about the state of the graph, we will be using the memory saver. So let's define another variable in here. So let's go and say it's the selected business underscore name, and it's a str. Now we want to define another node that will be responsible for doing this. I will be adding in here the user interaction node. It will be another function, select the business name, and takes the state and the application state. Adding some comments here that is presenting information to the user and stopping for input. So the available business names are the ones that we have. So we are planning to convert them into a string variable or add it to the prompt where the user will go and select. You can see how we use the interrupt command. And then I've just here added the list of the business or the available business names. By the way, I did not convert. I kept it as a string, although as a list. Sorry, although I did here names underscore str. So that's where the user, after the user selects, that's where the selected business name will be stored. Now we continue with, we keep the same node, we keep the following node, and we continue normally. But now we want to add to the new script. So we'll show you here compared to the previous one. We will add a new node. So we will do build add underscore node, and then we will go and put the new one, which is in here, select business name. Now we want to change a bit of the flow. What will happen is that there will be generating the generation of the suggestions. After the generation, there will be a check of the availability. Then we want a business, we want a human in the loop, where the human will basically select the business name. So to do that, then it will be the last edge will be from the business name to the end, but from check availability, we will need to have another edge which goes from check availability in order to select a business name. Now, before compiling the graph, we will need to define the memory saver, and it is an attribute within, it will be an attribute within the compiler. So in here, before going further, I will go and say check pointer, pointer equals to the memory saver, and it's an instance of a class. Now I'll put the checkpointer inside the compiler, and you can see that I've here added MemorySaver. That's where we will be needing to add a configuration file, or a configuration, sorry, when invoking the graph. Adding the command in here, giving it to the app invoke, and here it will be config, and then running the script. Config equal to thread so config. But before going ahead and running this to show you, remember, since we created the state with 4 variables, we will put this as an empty variable in here, and then we will save it and run it. I've saved the file as test_interrupt, and I will be trying to run it to see if we have something missing. So it looks like there is an issue with the checkpointer. So basically it's not checkpointer, it is checkpoint in here. And then I will just save it and run it. As I said, I'm writing the code, I'm not doing vibe coding or lots of vibe coding. So you can see here that the graph was executed. Let's check together what was in the result. You can see here that it went to different stages, but then there was nothing around the selected business names. Nothing has been done around the selected business name. One of the things that, or one of the functions that I really like, and it is the get state. And I found that one is pretty useful. So if I go to get state, you can see here. We need to give the config file. So it will be config. It will be thread underscore config. Thread underscore config. And you can see it gives us information about the current state. It returns a state snapshot, which tells us what's happening or where is the flow at this stage. Let's do tasks. You can see here there is a tasks, the list of tasks and tasks of 0. Gets us to knowing more about what's been happening. You can see here is the prompt that I'm targeting. So I'm showing you this because if for example you are building your own chatbot, and in there was an interrupt or a human in the loop, and you want to showcase the prompt and provide it for the user so that the user can go and respond to that. So basically it's he dot interrupts of 0, and then you can see now it's the value of the prompt. So it will be value of the prompt. You can see if I do value, and it is a dictionary. Now if I go a bit here and do the prompt, this will be the prompt that will be can be shown back. This is just an example. It's not like a sophisticated one, but it allows you to see how to invoke back the graph. So with this in here, let's go and try to invoke the graph again after setting up uh, the selected business name, or after the user selecting the business name. What will happen here is that we will return back with or return back to the graph with the command. You can see we haven't used it in here. It is not used. So what we will do is that we will run it again, and that's to be integrated within your system or within your tools in the future. So now let's try to invoke the app graph again with mimicking that a user have selected one of the values. So here, instead of going with the initial state and so on, we go with a command instance, and it has an important variable, which is resume. So here we put the selected business name, and we assume that the user selected LangGraph, and after closing the command, we will also ensure to do the same thing when invoking the the state graph by giving the thread config in here, and then we run it. Now you can see the selected business name was selected to be as a LangGraph in here. I think that was it for this tutorial. There were a few differences to the previous one. We will need to include the checkpoint, or the memory, and command and interrupt in order to have or to allow a human in the loop. Make sure to, when compiling, to include the checkpointer variable after defining it, and at the same time to include a thread or a config when invoking the app graph.